Hi. Now, in this episode, we are going to know the journey of life of Srinivasa Ramanujan for the last 6 years. Out of these 6 years, he was stayed 5 years for Cambridge University and rest 1 year at Madras. Remember, this period was First World War also. Whole the world was disturbed due to war. And United Kingdom was the main country who was involved in that war. That I discussed in last episode. After completing all formalities on 17th March 1914, Ramanujan deported to England through sea route and reached there on 14th April 1914. He was stayed in Cambridge for about 5 years duration and collaborated for his research work with two most prominent mathematicians of that time, Professor Hardy and Professor Littlewood. In March 1916, Ramanujan awarded for Bachelor of Arts by research degree of the Cambridge University for his investigation on highly composite numbers. Later, Ramanujan published first part of the thesis in the Proceedings of the London Mathematical Society, and it was acquired 50 pages in that most prestigious journal. It was against proved Ramanujan capability in mathematical world. Again, on 6 October 1917, Ramanujan was elected Fellow of the London Mathematical Society. On 2nd May 1918, Ramanujan was elected Fellow of the Royal Society London, and he was designated as FRS. Most prestigious honor for any scientist across the globe. It was that time, and even in present time, FRS is the most prestigious honor for any scientist across the world. Ramanujan was youngest Fellow of the Royal Society, which he was acquired in the age of 31 years. His election as FRS was on the basis of his investigation on elliptic functions. Again, on further, by recognizing his caliber in scientific words in mathematical arena, he was elected Fellow of Trinity College in 1918, and he was the first Indian who was elected Fellow of the Trinity College. However, he was the second Indian who was elected Fellow of the Royal Society, London. During this period, Ramanujan was facing different kind of challenges. One side, he was devoted himself to continue his very high level research, always working on standard and long standing problem, always trying to develop new results. On the other side, he was facing several challenges. First challenge, what he was facing, communication with his family members. Because at that time there was no telephonic system, no mobile system, no electronics communication, WhatsApp, email like nowadays. It was simply the telegram or postal communication. So sometime getting written letters may take weeks or months. Second, he was facing challenges for getting proper meals. He was vegetarian, and at that time the Europe was not much open for varieties of meals. So because of his not proper diet, he got affected by tuberculosis. It was most difficult time facing by himself. Later, he and his fellow realized that First World War also affecting their research work. One of his collaborators, Professor Littlewood, joined operations with British Army for the First World War. But his main mentor, Professor Hardy, was against the war. It was one basic reasons. Ramanujan was getting various kind of difficulties. Even his Trinity Fellowship was delayed for 1 year because no one liked there the collaborator of Hardy may get such highest honor. And again, Ramanujan was from South Asian poor country at that time, the Indian color. No one liked him. But his very highest caliber of research work forced them to convince. And parallel to it, Hardy's determination to make him fellow of Trinity College. He was always thinking to convince experts by different mechanisms. Even by his effort, he presented his research works to the London Mathematical Society and again in the Royal Society, London. And he endeavored to make Ramanujan FRS before he get the fellowship of the Trinity College. And that was the Trinity politics. That means academic politics was working on its own way. But at the end, knowledge ruled and they overcome from all difficulties. With this all problem and anxiety, Ramanujan get depressed. And even in the end of 1917, And beginning of 1918, he tried for suicide himself and jumped on the railway track. But local security arrested him, considering trying for suicide itself is a crime. Again, Hardy intervened in that issue and made ensured Ramanujan safe recovered from that arrest. After completing his work and the First World War was over, a third factor, Ramanujan health was decreasing day by day. In all these circumstances, Hardy decided to send Ramanujan back to India after he was achieved many things as per his caliber. When Ramanujan decided to move from Cambridge to India, he was fellow of the London Mathematical Society. He was the fellow of Royal Society. He was the fellow of Trinity College. And he was already accepted as a professor of the Madras University. At that time, Madras University offered him 400 rupees salary, and due to fellow of the Trinity College, he was eligible to receive 3,750 rupees yearly grants from the Cambridge University. After all, the day arrived when Ramanujan and Hardy were separated. On 27 February 1919, Ramanujan left England for India, and he arrived in Madras, stayed for the rest time of his life, and died on 26th April 1920. So it was the last 5 to 6 years story of the Ramanujan life, and it was the most productive time of his lifetime, when he made many new discoveries, published several articles. Some of his articles appeared as a single author. Some of them were appeared as a joint authorship with Hardy as a co-author. So this is the one most encouraging story, most dynamic story of a life of a mathematician. His further details I will share in next episode. Thank you very much.